You probably think forgetting things more often is just a normal part of aging. You walk into a room and forget why. You misplace your glasses, only to find them sitting on top of your head. You tell a story, only to realize you've already told it before. It's frustrating, maybe even a little scary, and people joke about it, calling it senior moments. But what if I told you that some of the things you do every single day, without even realizing it, could be making memory loss worse? The way you spend your time, the foods you eat, the way you handle stress, all of these small, everyday habits can either protect your brain or increase your risk of Alzheimer's. The good news? It's never too late to make changes. Science has shown that small adjustments in daily life can help keep your memory sharp, improve focus, and even slow down cognitive decline. So today, we're going over the daily habits that may be damaging your brain and what you can do instead to keep your mind strong for years to come. Let's get into it. Many people think memory loss is just a natural part of aging. But the truth is, Alzheimer's doesn't happen overnight. It develops over decades. The small things you do every day, without even thinking about them, can either protect your brain or slowly weaken it. And the good news? You have the power to make a difference. Today, we're going over 7 daily habits that research has linked to a higher risk of Alzheimer's. If you've been experiencing more forgetfulness or mental fog lately, these could be part of the reason. Let's start with the first one. Doing too many things at once. Multitasking overloads the brain. You might think that keeping your brain busy with multiple things at once is a good way to stay sharp. Maybe you like to cook while listening to a news podcast, or you read a book while the TV is on in the background. It feels productive, but in reality, multitasking weakens memory and increases the risk of cognitive decline. Here's why. The brain isn't designed to handle multiple streams of information at the same time. When you jump between tasks, whether it's flipping between TV shows and conversations or checking your phone while eating, the brain doesn't actually process all of it. Instead, it rapidly switches focus back and forth, making it harder to absorb new information. A study from Stanford University found that people who frequently multitask have more trouble remembering information, filtering out distractions, and switching between tasks efficiently. Over time, this weakens the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for forming and storing memories, the same area that Alzheimer's attacks first. Common multitasking mistakes. Seniors make without realizing it, listening to the news or a podcast while cooking. Instead of remembering the recipe, your brain gets overwhelmed with competing information. Reading a book while the TV is on, you might think you're following both, but your brain is actually missing key details from each. Having multiple conversations at once, on the phone while watching TV, or talking to someone else in the room, the brain struggles to focus on either properly. What you can do instead: give your full attention to one task at a time. When reading, turn off the TV. When cooking, play music instead of talk radio. Practice deep focus with the 20-minute rule. Work on a single task for at least 20 minutes before switching. Take mental breaks. Let your brain fully finish one activity before starting another. This strengthens memory and concentration. By training your brain to focus on one thing at a time, you're helping it stay stronger, sharper, and more resistant to memory loss. Now, let's move on to another surprising habit that could be increasing your risk of Alzheimer's. 2. Chronic stress and overthinking. How worrying shrinks the brain. Everyone experiences stress, but if you constantly feel anxious, worried, or overwhelmed, it could be doing serious damage to your memory. Here's why. When you're stressed, your brain releases cortisol, a hormone that helps in short bursts but is harmful over time. Too much cortisol damages the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory. This is why people who are always under stress tend to be more forgetful, struggle to concentrate, and have a harder time recalling names or details. In fact, research shows that chronic stress can physically shrink the brain, making it more vulnerable to Alzheimer's and dementia. How seniors accidentally increase stress without realizing it. Watching too much news, constantly hearing negative stories can keep the brain in a state of anxiety. Overthinking past mistakes or worrying about the future. This keeps the stress response activated even when there's no immediate danger. Feeling overwhelmed by daily tasks, like managing bills, keeping up with medical appointments, or taking care of family. What you can do instead: limit daily news intake. Watching negative news for hours can increase stress and make memory problems worse. Try deep breathing exercises. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds, Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. This calms the nervous system. Get outside and take short walks. Nature and fresh air reduce cortisol levels and improve brain function. Engage in relaxing hobbies. Doing something with your hands, gardening, painting, or knitting helps keep stress levels low. A little reassurance. You don't have to get rid of stress completely. That's impossible. But you can control how you respond to it. Even small moments of peace, stepping outside for fresh air, calling a friend, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea can help lower stress and protect your brain. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress. Reducing stress isn't just about feeling better. It's about protecting your brain from long-term damage. Small daily changes can help keep your mind sharp and lower your risk of Alzheimer's. Now, let's move on to habit number 3, one that's especially dangerous for seniors but is easy to fix. 3. Sitting too much. Why staying still speeds up memory loss. You might not think twice about sitting for long periods, watching TV, reading, or even relaxing after a meal. But research shows that too much sitting is linked to faster memory decline and a higher risk of Alzheimer's. A study from UCLA found that people who sit for long hours every day have thinner brain regions responsible for memory. Another study revealed that seniors who are physically inactive have a 50% higher risk of developing dementia. The problem isn't just lack of exercise, it's lack of movement throughout the day. Even if you take a morning walk, if you sit for hours afterward, your brain still isn't getting the circulation it needs to stay strong. Common sitting habits that hurt brain health. Watching TV for long hours without moving. Sitting at the table after meals instead of walking around, spending too much time on the phone, scrolling or talking while sitting. What you can do. Instead, stand up and move every 30-60 minutes. Even just stretching or walking around the house helps. March in place or stretch during TV commercial breaks. Take short daily walks, even for 10-15 minutes. If walking outside isn't possible, indoor movement like light stretching still helps. Try a standing activity. Fold laundry while standing, do a little gardening, or simply sway side to side while on the phone. You don't need to run marathons or do intense workouts, just move a little more each day. Even small movements improve blood flow to the brain, keep memory centers active, and lower the risk of Alzheimer's. Now, let's move on to habit number 4, one that most seniors don't even realize is hurting their memory, or not letting yourself have enough sleep. Many people think that as they get older, needing less sleep is normal. Maybe you've noticed that you wake up earlier than you used to, or you have trouble staying asleep through the night. But here's what most people don't realize. Poor sleep isn't just tiring, it actually increases the risk of Alzheimer's. When you sleep, your brain goes into repair mode. It clears out toxins, including beta amyloid, a protein that builds up in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. If you don't get enough deep sleep, these harmful proteins accumulate over time, damaging brain cells. In fact, studies show that people who regularly get less than 6 hours of sleep per night have a higher risk of dementia later in life. Common sleep mistakes that hurt memory. Falling asleep with the TV on, the noise and light disrupt deep sleep, which is when the brain repairs itself. Drinking coffee, tea, or alcohol too late in the evening. Caffeine and alcohol can interfere with sleep quality. Using your phone or tablet in bed. The blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime, making it harder to fall asleep. What you can do instead? Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Dim the lights, read a book, or listen to calming music before bed. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. This helps the brain enter deep sleep more easily. Avoid screens at least 30 minutes before bed. This allows your brain to naturally produce melatonin, the sleep hormone. Try a short evening walk. Light movement after dinner helps regulate sleep patterns. If you struggle with sleep, don't stress about it. That will only make it worse. Instead, focus on creating small habits that help your brain relax at night. Even a small improvement in sleep quality can help your memory stay sharp and lower your risk of Alzheimer's. Now, let's move on to habit number 5, one that affects not just your memory, but also your mood and overall brain function. 5. Not socializing enough. Why loneliness weakens the brain. It's easy to assume that keeping to yourself isn't a big deal, especially if you enjoy quiet time. But did you know that social isolation is one of the strongest risk factors for Alzheimer's? Studies show that loneliness can actually shrink the brain, specifically the areas responsible for memory and thinking. In fact, Research from Johns Hopkins University found that seniors who have little social interaction have a 50% higher risk of developing dementia. The reason? When you engage in conversations, your brain stays active. You recall details, process responses, and form new connections, all of which strengthen memory. But when social interactions decrease, the brain gets less stimulation, which leads to faster cognitive decline. Signs you might not be socializing enough. You go days without having a real conversation with someone. You mostly talk to people through text instead of face-to-face or by phone. You spend most of your time alone, even though you used to enjoy social activities. You avoid calls or invitations because you feel tired or not in the mood. What you can do? Instead, call a friend or family member daily, even for just 5 minutes. Hearing a familiar voice helps keep the brain engaged. Join a local group or class. It could be a hobby club, a senior center activity, or a walking group. Make small talk with neighbors or people at the store. Even short, casual conversations keep social skills sharp. Consider volunteering. Helping others provides purpose and regular interaction, which is great for brain health. You don't have to be an extrovert or force yourself into big social events. Even small moments of connection, whether it's a phone call, a coffee with a friend, or chatting with someone at the grocery store, help keep your brain active and engaged. Now, let's move on to habit number 6, one that has a direct impact on both brain and body health. 6. Eating too many processed foods. How diet affects your memory. You've probably heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." Well, that applies to your brain too. What you put on your plate has a direct impact on memory, focus, and even the risk of Alzheimer's. Unfortunately, many common foods, especially processed and packaged ones, contain ingredients that fuel inflammation in the brain, damage nerve cells, and contribute to memory loss. The worst foods for brain health: sugary snacks and drinks. Excess sugar increases insulin resistance in the brain, leading to memory problems. Processed meats, bacon, sausage, hot dogs, deli meats, contain chemicals that speed up brain aging. Fried foods and trans fats increase inflammation and make brain cells age faster. White bread, pasta, and processed grains cause blood sugar spikes, leading to brain fog and reduced focus. A long-term diet high in these foods has been linked to a higher risk of dementia, slower thinking, and more frequent memory lapses. What you can do instead: eat more brain-boosting foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, and healthy fats, olive oil, avocados, fish. Cut back on processed foods and focus on whole, natural ingredients. Drink more water and herbal teas instead of sugary drinks. Try the Mediterranean or MIND diet, which has been shown to slow brain aging and reduce Alzheimer's risk. No need to change your entire diet overnight. Start small. Swap processed snacks for nuts, replace white bread with whole grains, and use olive oil instead of butter or margarine. Every little improvement helps protect your brain and keep your memory strong. Now, let's move on to habit number 7, one that's often overlooked but plays a huge role in keeping the brain active. 7. Not challenging your brain. Use it or lose it. Many people think that once you reach a certain age, learning new things doesn't matter anymore. But here's the truth. Your brain is like a muscle, and if you don't use it, it weakens. Just like staying physically active keeps your body strong, keeping your brain engaged helps prevent memory loss and reduces the risk of Alzheimer's. How lack of mental stimulation affects the brain. When you stop learning new things, the brain forms fewer connections, making it harder to recall memories. Studies show that people who don't engage in mental activities are at a higher risk for dementia compared to those who challenge their brains regularly. The brain thrives on variety. Doing the same routine every day without mental challenges can actually speed up cognitive decline. Common mistakes that lead to mental decline: watching TV for hours without any active engagement, sticking to the same daily routine without new challenges, avoiding puzzles, reading, or learning new skills. What you can do instead: read books, newspapers, or magazines daily. Even 20 minutes of reading can help improve memory and thinking skills. Try puzzles, crosswords, or brain games. These activities keep the mind sharp by making you think in new ways. Learn something new, no matter how small. A new hobby, a new word, or even a new way to cook a recipe helps keep brain connections strong. Challenge your non-dominant hand. Brushing your teeth or eating with your opposite hand forces the brain to create new neural pathways. You don't have to study complicated subjects or learn something difficult. Even small changes, reading a new book, trying a different route when walking, or doing a daily puzzle, can help protect your memory and keep your brain young. And if you want to take it even further, check out our video on how to train your brain to remember and learn anything, even after 60. You'll discover simple techniques that make learning easier and keep your memory strong no matter your age. Now, let's move on to how you can take action today to protect your brain for years to come. If you've made it this far, you might be wondering, is it too late to change? Have years of these habits already done too much damage? The answer is no. Science shows that the brain is always capable of forming new connections, improving memory, and staying strong, even as you age. The key is to start making small, daily changes today. By simply moving more, managing stress, getting good sleep, socializing, eating better, and challenging your brain, you're giving yourself the best chance at keeping your memory sharp for years to come. And if you want to go even further, check out our next video, how to train your brain to remember and learn anything, even after 60. In that video, you'll learn practical techniques to boost memory, recall names easily, and absorb new information faster. Click here to watch it now. And if you found this video helpful, hit the like button. It really helps spread this information to others who need it. Subscribe for more brain health tips and share this video with a friend or loved one who could benefit from it. Stay healthy, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.